Welcome back to Morning Markets on Thursday, the 28th of April. On screen, we can see the key market moves from yesterday. In the main, we had positive returns from global equity markets, reversing some of the challenges which we've experienced through the Monday and Tuesday trading session. The US dollar continued to strengthen. In part, this was due to expectations that the Federal Reserve, so the US Central Bank, would continue to tighten monetary policy sooner than expected at the beginning of the year. With this, we experienced the yield on US government bonds move higher. Therefore, whilst equities were positive, bonds were marginally negative in terms of total return. Just to link those 2 points together in terms of yield and the US dollar, the higher yield rate available on US government bonds relative to economies or regions where you're seeing central banks further behind in the monetary policy tightening is more attractive. Therefore, exposure to the US dollar is increasing in that regard. In terms of the equity markets, two factors which were supporting yesterday. One was the earnings. I'm just going to pull out two examples here today, examples which you will be very familiar with. These are examples which are held within the True Potential portfolios, either directly or indirectly through indices, both of which had positive share price reaction on the back of strong earnings reports. So these companies are Microsoft. They reported after hours on Tuesday, and also Visa. In terms of the key takeaways, both companies are seeing growth in their revenues. If we look at the first quarter of this year compared to the first quarter of last year, they're also showing healthy profit levels as well. They did note that there are challenges in terms of recruiting talent into their workforce, into supply chains, which is a factor in a topic which we've discussed widely here on Morning Markets. In terms of Microsoft, they experienced, as I say, positive growth in revenues in the first quarter year on year. Just to give you some context for the group, they were up around 18%. This was boosted by growth in one particular area, that was cloud-based technology. So one of the subsidiaries of Microsoft being the Azure platform, which experienced 46% revenue growth in the first quarter relative to the first quarter of last year. This helped to offset some of the challenges of the production of hardware. So examples there being PCs, being Xboxes, where the global supply chain challenges are still having an impact in that area. Sales of Microsoft Office, so packages such as Excel and Word, they also demonstrated growth in that regard. It was pleasing to see that despite the challenges, or in the context of the challenges which Microsoft have faced year to date as a business, with analysts reacting to the impact of higher financing costs, the stock was up around 5% on the day in sterling terms. In terms of Visa, so the second company here, they are the world's largest payment processor. They demonstrated the resilience of their business model. The report demonstrated that continuation of the trend of the move from physical cash to electronic payment systems, which was really accelerated through the pandemic. But it also, in the report, it demonstrated that whilst consumers face a number of challenges at this point in time, being rising living costs and the war within Europe, there's still very strong appetite to consume. This was reflected with revenue growth up 25% for the first quarter of this year compared to the first quarter of last. And whilst operating costs were higher, so the cost of input in running the business was higher, around 11%, there was still strong profit growth there. So profit in terms of the earnings which were available to be distributed per shareholder were up around 30% in that quarter. The results also demonstrated strength in cross-border transactions. So these are transactions from one country to another. I think this is really important because whilst we demonstrated a number of challenges in terms of rising living costs and so on, there's still appetite for people to travel, there's still appetite for people to get out there and spend. And this is an area which Visa placed emphasis on in terms of their forward guidance. They expect this area to continue on that pathway in terms of growth in cross-border transactions as global COVID activity restrictions continue to ease. On the day, the stock returned around 7% in sterling terms. Thank you very much for watching. We look forward to bringing you up to date tomorrow here on Morning Markets.
Subscribing to the True Potential YouTube channel is quick and easy. Simply go to the channel on your desktop or through the YouTube app on your phone and click the subscribe button. You can then press the notification bell symbol if you wish to be notified as and when new videos are released. Doing this is a great way to keep yourself updated with market developments and personal finance insights. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and we look forward to continuing to help you do more with your money.